Hey everybody, today I want to make a little bit of a different video. So about 2 weeks ago, a really good friend of mine surprised me and he dropped on my doorstep a brand new tape deck. Well, not brand new, but in excellent condition. It's a tape deck. Actually, I have it over here. It's a Techniques and it's an RSTR 272. And I did a little bit of research on it, and I think it was released like around the year 2000. So it's 20 years old at this point, which is crazy to think about. But it's in absolutely fantastic working order. I didn't even have to clean the heads. I did clean the heads, though, just for the heck of it. But it's just in absolutely just great shape. And it was just so nice of him to drop it off for me. And it's opened up a whole new world to me because I have never, and I repeat, I have never purchased a cassette in my life. I think my dad had a bunch of cassettes when I was growing up. He had a lot of the Beatles albums on cassette. And of course, you know, obviously my dad, like in the 80s and the 90s, having cassettes was fantastic because of just the portability. You could take, you know, your music anywhere you wanted to go. All of our cars in the 80s and the 90s when I was growing up, they all had cassette decks in them. So my dad would make mixtapes. He would make full albums from his actual records. So I grew up with tapes, but I never bought them myself because when I started to buy music, the first album I ever bought I bought a CD, and it was Revolver. And I think I bought that in like the early 90s. I think I bought it like 92, maybe 1992. I can't exactly pinpoint the exact year, but that's when I started buying music, was when CDs were really becoming the format. And then from there, I obviously got into vinyl, and I pretty much stuck to just buying vinyl, as you can see, and the occasional CD. But I never really got into cassette tapes at all. For a number of reasons, unlike the reasons I just stated, that, you know, it's just they weren't really popular during the time I was growing up. But flash forward to now, there's been a little bit of a resurgence of younger people being into cassettes. In fact, when my band plays, when we used to play before the pandemic, when we were playing a lot of shows, we'd play with other bands. I would notice a lot of other bands had their albums were on cassette, and a lot of people would buy them. And I would talk to a lot of these younger bands, and they would say, "Oh yeah, like people love cassettes now," and it's a really fun way to duplicate your albums and just get the word out there. And it's kind of a unique thing as well. So cassettes are definitely coming back. But I should say, before I get into this whole video about the cassettes, I've been picking up some cassettes of my own. Before I get into this, I want to just say right off the bat, are cassettes an amazing sounding listening experience? They can be pretty good, is what I will say. Are they better than vinyl? Absolutely not. Are they better than CDs? Absolutely not. But they are their own unique thing. They're very cool in their own way, and they have their own sound. You have to admit that. And there's a number of factors that go into that, but they definitely do have their own sound. They have their own kind of warmth in a weird way. Not always a good warmth, if that's possible, but they do. They have their own kind of thing. So before I get a bunch of comments below, people saying like cassettes are garbage and they don't sound good, I totally understand where you're coming from, and I agree with you. I just started collecting them because they're fun to collect, and it's a whole new thing for me. So in this video, I'm going to show you some of the cassettes I've picked up. They're all Beatles or Paul McCartney. So let's just get right into it. And there are a few surprises, by the way. So first off, the very first cassette that I picked up here, it's kind of a weird one to be the first one, but I found it online for a very good price. I picked up the Beatles Anthology 1. And I'm going to get closer so you can see that. There it is. There's the back. Now, Anthology 1. I will admit right off the bat, this is my least favorite of the three anthologies. But it's so weird because when I listen to this cassette, for the first time ever, I think, I really appreciated Anthology 1 for the first time. I can go on record and say that I think I like Anthology 1 on cassette more than I like it on vinyl or CD. Now, there's a reason for this. There's just like a kind of a flow about it that I really enjoyed. The recordings on here, a lot of them are pretty lo-fi, obviously, because it's from like the Beatles' early days where they just recorded like demos on home tape recorders. There's an acetate of their very first recording of That'll Be the Day and In Spite of All the Danger. So the audio fidelity on a lot of those recordings is very, very low. So on cassette, it sounds fine. It sounds as good as it's going to sound. And I just really, really enjoyed listening to this. And it was just such a different listening experience compared to listening to a record, listening to a CD. It was really fun to take... By the way, here's what the cassettes look like for the Anthology 1. These clear cassettes. And it's just fun to take out this booklet. Comes out like this. And it's the exact same as the CD, of course. Same information, same photos and everything, but it's just fun to kind of approach it in a different way. So I really, really enjoyed this one, and like I said, it sounded pretty good, I gotta say. For the Anthology 1, it sounded very, very good. Now, the second tape that I picked up happens to be Anthology 2, which is my favorite of the anthologies. I don't know if I've stated that before, but it's definitely my favorite. And I'll get closer here. There we go. And there's the back. And I do like the way these are packaged. The cassettes are very cool, very, very compact in here. And again, this one sounded pretty good for a cassette. It was a lot of fun to listen to. I will say I didn't have as much fun though listening to this as I did listening to Anthology 1. I don't know really why, but that's all I could say about that. But I really did have a fun time listening to this, though. It was a very good listen. But I think definitely I prefer listening to Anthology 2 on vinyl. It sounds good to my ears on vinyl. See if these will actually stay standing up over there. Okay, then the next cassette that I picked up, and this is one of my favorites. I picked up Live at the BBC. I'm going to get closer here so you can really check this out. It comes in a slipcase here, as you can see. Now, the really cool thing about this one is I love the way this is put together. The packaging is really great. So, like I said, it has this like cardboard slipcase. So I'll take that out. There it is. And it comes with a mini booklet. Now, this booklet is really, really cool. And I'm going to get closer here to show this to you. Just got a very, very cool look to it. And I really enjoyed looking at this while I listened to these recordings. Now, again, kind of like Anthology 1, because the audio fidelity on these original recordings is so kind of low, it was a pleasure to listen to these on cassette. And again, I think I enjoyed listening to the Live at the BBC Volume 1 here on cassette more than I've ever enjoyed listening to it before. When this first came out in 94, it was right when I started getting into the Beatles, so this was a very exciting album for me. I bought this on CD, and I listened to it over and over and over again. I loved it. But even at the time, I remember thinking, as I was listening to it on CD, there was something kind of odd about listening to it on CD. I don't know what it was. I don't know if because it was a radio show or whatever. But listening to this on cassette, I really, really enjoyed this so much more than I ever have before. I really found myself really diving into the music and really reading the booklet like I never had before, really kind of absorbing what this set had to offer. And it was really, really a lot of fun. And by the way, you can find this exact set on eBay and on other online sites for a very, very, very low amount of money. I think I got this for $6, and it's worth absolutely every penny. And it sounds just as good, in my opinion, as the vinyl. I have an original UK pressing of the BBC in my collection over here, right here. And this sounds just as good as that. And again, it's because the fidelity of these original recordings is not that great. So when you put it on cassette, you're not losing all that much. Granted, I'm sure if you were to analyze the actual audio of the vinyl and the cassette and the CD, I'm sure the cassette would be the least fidelity of all of them. That's just how it is. But I personally loved this BBC collection. It was a lot of fun. Okay, and then next, what I picked up, I got this. And this, I don't know what the heck's going on with this, but I loved this Sgt. Pepper cassette. So this is from 1992. I looked it up, and he says, I don't know why I said that. I looked it up. Of course I looked it up. Who else would look it up? Anyway, from 1992, this is from Capitol Records, and this is Sgt. Pepper, and it has XDR, dynamic or expanded dynamic range is what it says. And I'm going to get closer and show you this. That back. And this just sounded really good. Now, there's a number of reasons why this sounded good, I think. First and foremost, it was really loud. And when I say loud, I mean like pushed to the brink. It was really, really, there's a lot of compression going on here, which they have to kind of do when it comes to tape, I think. I don't know the exact reasons for all of this, by the way. I'm totally new to cassettes, so anybody in the comments below, please let me know, the technical aspects of this. But it was really, really loud, really, really punchy is how I would describe it. I wouldn't call it an authentic sound. For me personally, when I listen to the Beatles, especially Sgt. Pepper, I want to hear that like natural analog, that kind of pure sound that you can get on the mono pressings of the album, and like the UK stereo pressings. A lot of from like the late 60s, early 70s, those UK pressings are excellent. This doesn't have that quality to it. It has a different kind of quality that I really did enjoy, though, because it was a bit different. And it was just a lot of fun to listen to. And I don't know, it kind of blew me away in an odd way. And it sounded really good. As far as the fidelity of this, it was really, really good. And I think it has a lot to do with this XDR technology. I looked that up a little bit, and this is something that I think, I could be wrong here, but I think Capitol exclusively developed this technology and incorporated it into a lot of their releases. And basically what they did was just, I think they added just a lot of compression and they really pumped the music up a lot. The other thing to talk about with this Sgt. Pepper cassette is that this is sourced from the digital masters that were done in the late 80s. So it has that going against it. But I really did enjoy it. It was really, really cool to listen to, and just a lot of fun. So Sgt. Pepper. Next up, going along the lines of Sgt. Pepper, I picked up the White Album, Parts 1 and Parts 2, and I'll get closer to show you these. Part 1, Part 2. And again, these have the XDR, whatever that is, again, expanded dynamic range on them. And these are both released by Capitol. And these are also from like the early 90s. And the White Album, it sounded really good. It didn't sound quite as good as Sgt. Pepper. I don't know why that would be. But it seemed like the fidelity wasn't quite as good as Sgt. Pepper. It was still an enjoyable listen, and it was fun to kind of check these out. And I should mention, by the way, so Sgt. Pepper, the track listing is exactly the same, the one that we're always used to. The White Album is a different story. So they kind of messed around with the track listing here just a little bit. So instead of the side 1 of the record that we are so used to, ending with Happiness is a Warm Gun, coming after While My Guitar Gently Weeps, on here they have While My Guitar Gently Weeps and then Blackbird, which is kind of interesting. And then Happiness is a Warm Gun actually opens up the second side, and then goes right into Martha, My Dear, and then I'm So Tired, and then instead of having Blackbird after I'm So Tired like we're all used to, it goes from I'm So Tired right into Piggies. So just a little bit of a mix-up there, and the reason for that is what I've read about is that they're trying to make it so each side of the tape is roughly the same length, so they can get they can kind of get it all on there in equal times. So I guess that's why they did some messing around with the order. And then on the second tape, they messed with the order a little bit again here. They moved Sexy Sadie, so you get everybody's got Something High Except for Me and My Monkey, and then Helter Skelter comes right after that instead of Sexy Sadie. And then Sexy Sadie actually comes after Now Revolution 1. So again, a little bit of a jumble there, but fun to listen to nonetheless. So that was the White Album. Then I got 2 Paul McCartney solo cassettes, and they both happen to be McCartney. One is McCartney's first album, and then the other is McCartney 2. Now, McCartney 2 had a bit of an issue. There's something wrong with the actual wheels inside of the cassette, and they don't rotate smoothly, so it makes it play a little bit kind of slow, and it kind of like speeds up or whatever. So this was really just kind of a waste of time. I only paid $2 for it, but kind of a disappointment in a way. So that's McCartney 2. McCartney 1, on the other hand, sounded great. Again, this is from Capitol and it has the XDR, and it sounded really good. It was fun to listen to. Nothing to really write home about, but still kind of fun. Anyway, those are a few cassettes that I picked up, and I actually was bidding on eBay on a complete set of the Beatles UK albums on cassette. I think it was 13 of them. It was identical to the blue box, the vinyl blue box. And I was winning. It was great. I was so excited I was going to get it. And then at the last second, someone swooped in and picked it up, which is fine. And actually, in the end, I was kind of glad I didn't get it, oddly enough, because I was kind of already at that point over the whole cassette thing. When I first got the deck and I got a bunch of cassettes, I was pretty excited about it. But I got to say now that it's still cool. I'm still going to pick up some cassettes as I go along here, and I actually have a couple more coming in the mail. But overall, they're fun to listen to, but it's definitely, I can tell it's not going to be something that I 100% just get obsessed with. I'll probably try to get all the Beatles albums. I would like to get all the Beatles XDR Capitol cassettes just to have them because they're kind of cool. I'd like to get Anthology 3 just so I have 1, 2, and 3. That'd be really cool as well. And so I think when it comes to cassettes, I'm just going to go after the Beatles. I would also like to go after some original UK cassettes. I've heard that the audio quality of those isn't all that great, but they'd be fun to get. They're really collectible. But that's it for now. Make sure, of course, to stay tuned for lots more videos, lots more records. In fact, here's a little teaser for you. I just posted to my website, needlemeetsvinyl.com, a great pressing of Let It Be. It's on there right now. So if you stayed to the end of this video, you have got a scoop there. So it's on the website. I'm going to make a video for it probably tomorrow, an official video. But until then, if you want to sneak in and pick it up, you can do that right now. So that's it for now. And stay happy, stay healthy, and bye for now.